Hello, Pulp Hounds. So today I want to talk about occult detectives, and there's going to be something free for all of you, for each and every one of you, by the end of the video. But first, let's have a quick word from today's suitably themed sponsor.
Here we are at the Sabudio Stadium. Here come the teams. It's England versus Brazil. England kick off. A beautiful ball, and there's a quick breakaway. Oh, good play. England shoot. What a save, and it's a corner. England take the kick. It's pushed away. It's a goal. So it's 1-0 to England.
Play the world's greatest sport with Sabudio.
Honestly, it was never that exciting when I played it when I were a kid. And in that advert, they don't show, like, your mate's big brother coming and stamping on all your little men on half their little Edam. That happened. Anyway. Occult detectives. It's a thing. It's not really... I think it's a big part of the horror genre. And it's a big part of the horror genre that I genuinely love. I do like a good detective. Occult or mysterious nonsense aside. Since I've done my Peter Saxon video, I've started picking a few Sexton Blakes up that are relevant to the Peter Saxon mythos. And I've absolutely loved them. But that's detective. And those guys are tough guys. One thing that's always appealed to me about someone who investigates the strange and unusual, more often than not, they're not tough guys. And that's a character trait I really like. They win the day, or sometimes don't. And they use their knowledge and intellect and reason to get it sorted. I mean, even Sherlock Holmes was a little bit of a pugilist. He could sort himself out. But you kind of get the feeling that guys like John Silence, yeah, a decent haymaker, and they're on the floor. So I guess the kind of roots of the genre go back further than like John Silence and William Hope Hodgson's Carnacki, who I think are the two things that mainly that they kick-started it almost. That's where everything converged. Detectives exploring dark and unpleasant things such as Auguste Dupin from Poe's Murders in the Rue Morgue. And a lot of people seem to think the narrator from Lytton's Haunted and the Haunters, they were early examples of this, like, occult detective. And then I think you throw into the mix, like, early ghost hunters as well. A lot of these chaps that M.R. James wrote about, they were essentially like detectives uncovering mysteries, but they were obsessed with uncovering the history, but there's a mystery at the heart of it that they're uncovering, and now they didn't kind of solve the mystery 9 times out of 10 when M.R. James was writing. Like in his stories, they always ended up having a very lousy afternoon. And then you throw into the mix like people from the classic era of ghost hunting from like turn of the century onwards. So like Elliot O'Donnell, who did have to do investigative work to uncover the the strange things that were afoot that he wrote about. Now, as I've said in my videos before, I'm sure Mr. O'Donnell, he made a lot of money selling accounts of his true ghost hunts. And I'm sure they were a little bit embellished. But you kind of put all that together and you get like almost like a forgotten subgenre that has endured and still endures to this day, even into newer mediums, moving away from books and stuff. And the ongoing adventures of some people that can, or a person that can sort it. I mean, there's a lot to be said for like how Lovecraft structured his stuff. There was investigators and detectives trying to figure it out, and like M.R. James investigators, they 9 times out of 10 they met with a sticky end. But they managed to actually write, because normally it was an account of like, I've been exploring this, and they normally managed to stay alright enough to actually write that they were going mad at the end, and write like, oh my god, it's at the door, it's coming in. Which, when I die, I genuinely hope I'm writing my final thoughts as a note and write a splendid word that equates as I'm not quite sure how to spell it, but hopefully I've got a couple of years yet to figure out the semantics of writing that down. And then as popular horror fiction progressed, this was something that continued with groups like The Guardians, that I've done videos about. What else we got? Oh yeah, The Specialist. These are good ways to sell a series and keep selling books, which was something that obviously like the Pulp started. Get an ongoing character, get people enjoying that character, they will keep buying the books. You haven't got like a new title that you've got to try and sell that nobody knows about and people don't know if they're going to like. They know that character. Things like Michael Avallone's The Satan Sleuth. So it carried on and on and on, and even into the 80s with Jory Sherman's, that's a very glossy rap I've got on that, isn't it? Chill, Dr. Russell V. Childers. And even further, like with The Night Hunter, it was Robert Holdstock. There's an upcoming video about Night Hunter books. That's going to be my next one, so that'll be next week. And I know the Night Hunter books he wasn't like an investigator. He was like a normal kind of guy that got embroiled in this horrible world. But he had to uncover the roots of a horrible crime, and there was occult forces at work, so he had to go and figure out like defenses where bullets and fisticuffs wouldn't work. Kind of magic and occult defenses would. Even kind of further on in the development of horror fiction, Guy N. Smith's Sabbath, that falls into the milieu of the occult detective. But it's not entirely overlooked. Now, this isn't a paid promotion or anything. But friend of the channel, Dave Bretsky, I hope I've got that right, mate, has reached out and got in touch, and he edits or co-edits with John Linwood Grant Occult Detective Magazine. and sent me a few PDFs. It's also available as a as a hard copy. You can get a paper copy on Amazon. I think through their website, Grey Dog Tales. I'm going to put links to everything in the description, so it's easy for you guys to check it out if you want to check it out. So what Occult Detective Magazine is, obviously it's a collection of fiction, focusing on every era of the kind of occult detectives, which, you know, if you start to think about TV as well, you get like this guy who I adore, and I always feel really sorry for angry Tony Kolchak, and even up to shows like the X-Files. I know it got a little bit towards the end of the run of series, it got a little bit UFO-y and sinister conspiracy, but some of the earlier ones, they were investigating like sinister occult goings on. So yeah, anyway, sorry, back to Occult Detective Magazine. It's a genuinely good magazine. When Dave sent me a few PDFs and said, have a little look, see if you want to say something about it on your channel, because we'd appreciate it. This isn't like a big money-making scheme that they've got going. This is very obviously a labour of love that Dave and John sink an awful lot of time into, because the end product is very, very good, and there's some decent names writing fiction, and some names that you don't know that write decent fiction for this magazine. There's also each issue has articles and interviews and stuff like that. So, for example, it goes from everything from looking at the Gold Key Dr. Spectre, right up to kind of in-depth looks at the development of the genre. There's also reviews of books in this kind of field, and some really striking and impressive illustrations. Overall, it's a very, very lovely product, which is available electronically as well as paper. So, where do you guys come into this? What do you get for free? Well, they've decided that issue 10 should be like a kind of bumper issue that is given away as a free download. And I like to bring you guys things that you can pretty much have free. I think it's pretty cool. So yeah, all you need to do is go onto the Grey Dog Tales website, and you can download a free copy, and it's very cool. I will put a link to everything in the description, so you guys can go and check it out. And I urge you to go and have a little look. You've got nothing to lose. It's totally free, and you don't have to sign up or agree to anything. You can just have this lovely issue 10, which looks gorgeous, by the way, and have a little look and see if you like it. How cool is that? So, like I said, you know, this isn't like a paid promotion or anything like that. Dave's always active and leaving comments on my channel and things like that. And from looking through this magazine and obviously reading the PDFs that Dave sent me, you can kind of tell the passion that's involved and the expertise as well. And he makes suggestions and helpful comments on my channel, and I just thought, well, it would be awesome to try and repay that a little bit, and just let you lot know that there's free occult detective things. So get on it and get reading, because I think it's such a cool... I know it's like it's just a device to drive the plot, but it's been something that's been a huge part of horror for decades and decades. And if you like Occult Detective Magazine, which I do, then buy some PDFs and support small press authors and publishers. After all, that's where some of the big names in horror started. So next week, like I said, I am going to be looking in depth at the Night Hunter series. I've kind of got to show you, I was really shocked, and I didn't know this. I've got some of the separate volumes, and then I filled my collection in with double volumes, which came out later on. So I've not actually read this because I've got, let's get it out of the light. So I've got The Stalking as like a double volume. This was one I bought and stuck on my shelf because I'm trying to make a set of the individual ones. And it's signed by Robert Falcon, which is very cool, even though it wasn't even Robert Falcon that wrote them. That was just a pen name. But you will find out more next Wednesday. So thank you for watching, guys. I hope you're having a great week. And I will see you, lovely lot, in the next video.